So with our usual way of talking, with disembodied language, we are all arguing with each other about what is the issue. Yeah. You know, somebody says, no, this is the issue, and then somebody else says, no, this is the issue, and whatever supposedly is the issue that is what gets the attention, and then the news cycle, it just moves on to the next issue. And whatever makes it into the news supposedly is the issue. But when we consider the fact that we are all unconsciously engaging in disembodied language, disembodied language in which we do not listen to ourselves while we speak, then of course the issue, I'm not saying that this is the issue, but of course I have said that, but I would be saying the same thing as everybody else does if I would say, oh, this is the issue. But having said that, and I've said what I wanted to say, of course, I have said what I am able to say with my embodied language, because I listen to myself. And so anyone who listens to himself or herself will find out that this whole battle for what is the issue, and then supposedly we're talking about the issue. No, we're not talking about anything. We are just pretending to be talking. We're pretending to be listening. We're just arguing. We're just fighting. We're just disagreeing. And we're just trying to win the argument. We're trying to dominate the news cycle. That's what we do. We're trying to dominate the conversation. We're trying to dominate others with whatever our truth is, whatever our priority is, our value, our truth. But in embodied language, we don't do any of that. And yet we are talking, yet we are listening. We are really talking, we're really listening. Isn't that something? So as I was just saying, of course I can say, oh yeah, this is the real issue. Well, this is definitely an issue that is not being addressed. I'm the only one that's addressing it. And when you get to the difference between disembodied language and embodied language, and when you suddenly realize, like, he is right, Maximus Pepperkamp is right, nobody else is saying that, You have great psychologists like Jordan Peterson or something like that, or, you have philosophers like, I don't know, all kinds of people are doing a lot of talking everywhere on TV, doctors and, I don't know, scientists and people who are important, people that have written books and papers and published research and all that. And they are all, pushing their agenda. None of them want to talk with me. Isn't that interesting? None of them ever contacts me and says, like, yeah, of course, Maximus Pepperkamp, you are absolutely right, my friend. This is of major, major importance. Now, and not that I need that, not that I crave that. Of course I have, and I have felt that way, but I no longer feel that way because I kind of know how disembodied language works. They have their own arguments to make. They have their own thesis to defend. And I'm not defending any thesis. I'm not here arguing in favor of some theory. I'm just stating a fact about the way in which we as human beings communicate, which is completely unacknowledged. And the fact is that if we as speakers do not listen to ourselves while we speak, we talk in an entirely different way than when we listen to ourselves while we speak. Yeah, I listen to myself while I speak, and Yeah, I'm going on my early morning ride, and you're coming with me. And I'm telling you about my exploration of embodied language. And I don't have any particular topic that I'm trying to push down your throat, but I do acknowledge the difference between the fact that I am listening to myself and nobody else seems to be listening to themselves, and nobody else is even talking about the fact that there is a difference. A simple difference between, yeah, of course, there is a difference between a speaker who listens to him or herself. Such a speaker is, of course, one with himself or herself, because such a speaker is his own listener. She is her own listener. And when we become, as a speaker, our own listener, we are one with what we're saying. It's just as simple as that. And when we're one with what we're saying, there's no separation between our experience and what we're saying. And that's a whole different way of dealing with language. Yeah? So, and then, of course, all the issues that people have been pushing, they kind of recede into the background because you have actually, you have actually discovered something which is very fundamental, which has never been explored, never been identified, which is that when you listen to yourself while you speak, problems are gone. You are without problems. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I know it sounds unrealistic. I know it sounds almost like, how can that be true? But I'm not concerned about any of the things that people are concerned with. I can say like, okay, I understand that people are concerned with it. I understand that and I acknowledge that. People have all these anxieties and all these stressors and all these, frustrations. But I don't have these. How is it possible that I don't have any of that? And I have my history, just like everybody else, my history with disembodied language. And because of that history, once in a while, I may still be affected by disembodied language. Or I may even myself temporarily have some disembodied language. But it is really no big deal because I know already the difference between my own embodied language and my history of conditioning, which would, good morning, my history of conditioning which would only allow me to have disembodied language. Yeah, your history of conditioning is imprisoning you, and I have become liberated from that prison, even though there may be some conditioning lingering once in a while. It doesn't bother me at all. As a matter of fact, it is great because sometimes it is just needed to show you the difference between the ugliness, the nastiness, the violence, the complete distortion that occurs because of our usual way of talking, in which we do not listen to ourselves. Because how can it be otherwise? Yeah, we experience nothing but conflict because we are not listening to ourselves while we speak. And when you begin to listen to yourself while you speak, your problems are solved. It takes a while to sort of just verbalize that for yourself and to let yourself know that that is really true. It takes a while to understand that, but you feel it immediately. That's an interesting thing. So you experience it immediately. You don't understand it immediately. I mean, understanding is actually not so much a matter of what we have said it is. Understanding what embodied language is has nothing to do with an internal process. Yeah. Understanding embodied language is a matter of experiencing it. Yeah. And when will you experience embodied language? Well, it is when you're having it. Okay. So now understanding it means having it. Yeah. And so you're having embodied language, you're experiencing embodied language, you're expressing embodied language, and yes, in your expression of your embodied language, you understand it. Yeah? In your expression of what embodied language is to you, you begin to formulate, you begin to describe to yourself what it is like to listen to yourself while you speak. And of course, how different that is from not listening to yourself. Yeah. Yeah. No. As you can tell, in this moment, I've said something which I believe is of great importance. Yeah. Although I don't do what everybody else does, I'm not anymore. I've done that, of course. I've been just like everybody else. I've tried to also be heard, made my voice heard, and try to be important. But I have become, I must say, against my own expectation, I have become very comfortable with not being famous, with not being recognized. I have become very comfortable about just riding my bicycle and enjoying my morning and enjoying my own embodied language, and also leaving it all to other people to do what they need to do, to have their embodied language, because I have no ability to make it happen for other people, Yeah. Good morning. Yeah. Of course, in the past, I was still very much believing that I could do something. I could organize a seminar, I could give a session, I could create a workshop. Yeah, I could maybe even write a little handout with some bullet points and some hints, so that people would get it. But time has passed, and I've had many experiences with this. I've given hundreds of workshops in the past. I've given many sessions, and I've taught many classes, workshops, classes, and I've also produced a lot of writing. I produced a lot of videos, as you can see, and you can tell by the comments or by the reactions, there's hardly anybody that listens to it. I mean, you could say like, wow, it's to say the least, it is peculiar that so many other things go viral and that so many other things become widely known, and apparently people are finding value in that or regurgitating that, whatever some influencer is saying, or whatever some, I don't know, some podcaster or whatever, some video, some YouTuber is saying. And And of course, you could again say like, oh, you're craving fame, you're craving recognition, you're craving, what is it? That what I say is going to be adopted, and yes, there is some of that, but I'm just not at this moment, at least, concerned about that at all. Hi. Good morning. No. I'm not concerned about it because you should be concerned about it. And I realize that. And the only way in which it is going to work is if others are going to be concerned about it. I mean, you know, I know that I'm having embodied language. So I know what I'm doing, but I know other people aren't. And yeah, there's no understanding of the importance of this. This is completely overrun by our usual way of talking, by the disembodied language that's going on everywhere. And yet, here I am, riding my bicycle, making another wonderful video, and letting you know that it is possible, and letting you hear how good it sounds and how positive it feels. Yeah. Because you're the one who is missing out, and yeah. It's up to you. It is your move. Yeah. And so in 2025, as I have said on many other videos, I hope that you hear this somehow, because I'm not doing anything to promote myself. The only thing I do is post my stuff on the YouTube and on the Substack and on the X account. That's all I do, you know, and that's just easy peasy for me. It's easy for me to do that because that's what I'm able to do. I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do. I'm not trying anything which I find difficult or challenging, in spite of what everybody says, of course, because everybody says, like, oh no, should do this, should do that. No, I'm only doing what I'm doing, and the rest is not important to me. So I enjoy what I'm doing because I'm doing what I want to do, and I leave the rest to you. Yeah, and I hope you also will find what it is like to just do what you want to do. I'm doing it, yeah, and nothing more, but also nothing less, yeah. So, you know, there have been many times that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, and that I had to sort of just catch myself, or just begin to come to terms with the fact, like, wow, why am I doing it? Why am I still doing what I don't want to do? Yeah. And every time I did that, I came to this. I stopped doing what I didn't want to do. I began to instruct myself to no longer do what I didn't want to do. And I feel so proud that I've stopped doing what I didn't want to do. I feel so accomplished, so satisfied that I'm only doing what I want to do. Yeah. It's just so simple, and yet it is so easy to lose track of that, because we are not in the habit of speaking with ourselves and listening to ourselves. But I am. Yeah. All right, today we're gonna ride the path with the crackly rocks. You hear the little stones of the gravel that I will ride my bicycle over. So this peacefulness that you hear now is going to be replaced by the sound of the gravel, but you can ease into it as a certain smooth background sound which just relaxes you. And you can also just tune into my sound, into what I'm saying, as a way to relax yourself, because that's all I'm doing. I'm speaking with myself about my own well-being, and I'm happy the way it is. And yeah, I know the world is in turmoil. I know there's all sorts of things going on and problems that perhaps according to you need to be addressed, and issues that haven't been resolved. And there's all sorts of conflicts and all kinds of... Good morning. Hi. There are all sorts of tensions and worries, all kinds of injustices, and yet I'm unconcerned about all of that. And of course, you can be unconcerned about all of that too, but there's a reason why you aren't unconcerned. There's a reason why you're constantly overwhelmed by it, intimidated by it, disturbed by it, distracted by it. And that is, according to me, your way of dealing with language, because when you do not listen to yourself, your way of dealing with language is totally different than when you listen to yourself. Morning. Someone who listens to himself, like me, is very flexible, very playful, very capable of exploring what is it like to be without language. Yeah, that's a big one. Because if you say what you're capable of saying, what you want to say, you are going to be at some point done talking. And when you say presumably what's on your mind, because that's what people do, express your mind, express your thoughts, your feelings, express what's inside of you, let it come out. But that's not how language works. If you really do that, if you really would listen to yourself and say to yourself what you want to say, what you're capable of saying, you would find out that there is no mind, there is no inner language. That was just because of your previous way of talking, in which you weren't listening to yourself. That's the illusion of your inner language. So the illusion of your inner language occurs because you do not listen to yourself while you speak. You engage in disembodied language, and there you are with the illusion of thought, the illusion of mind, but also, I should say, the illusion of involuntary language, where you are not in charge of your language. No, that language just keeps on happening by itself, and it never seems to stop. Yeah, your mind supposedly keeps on going, and you cannot seem to calm down. Well, what that is your own misunderstanding of how language works. Because you never quite relax, you never really quite get your feet on the ground, as long as you still believe in the illusion of inner language. And that illusion is only going to be debunked by you, is only going to be exposed by you when you continue to talk out loud with yourself, when you continue to listen to yourself, when you continue to say like, wow, I can say everything I want to say. I can say everything I'm able to say. I can have embodied language. And my embodied language totally liberates me from everything I've always believed and always feared and always been preoccupied with. There's nothing left. Yeah. That's what I have discovered. And so that ongoing embodied language, that is something truly fantastic, because that is your language enlightenment. Yeah. You know, the sun is almost coming up. And here, oopla. Hi. And I'm just gonna walk for a little while so that we can have that moment together in which the sun arises above the mountain. It's just about to happen. And of course, that's just a metaphor, yeah? A metaphor for you beginning to listen to yourself, you beginning to speak with yourself, you beginning to see the light, yeah? That's all I'm able to do. And I'm so satisfied that I'm able to do this, that I can just walk here, and that I am where I am, yeah, in my life. You know, when I got up this morning, the first thing I did was just play on my ukulele. And I played some of the tunes that I have been writing my own text to. And some of these tunes I really love. They're so simple, these tunes. But I love these simple tunes. And yeah. Not gonna try to be some sort of a ukulele virtuoso or some sort of a vocal acrobat. No, I'm just singing my song. I'm just only enjoying what I am naturally capable of. Yeah. I'm just gonna go ride my bicycle a little bit further. And yeah, you may not believe me, that's fine. But I am convinced that there is going to be a time when everybody begins to catch on that language was always an overt phenomenon. That everybody begins to not believe it, but begins to say it, begins to hear it. That language never existed as an internal dialogue within ourselves. All of that was an illusion. Yes. There comes a time when everybody is aboard, everybody understands, everybody acknowledges that language is an overt phenomenon. And yes, what I've been saying all along will then be acknowledged and will then be referred to, probably, because these videos, they will still exist after I have died. And that moment that I'm describing when everybody is aboard with that is not probably going to happen in my lifetime. Yeah, I don't expect it to happen in my lifetime. It would be great if that were the case, but I don't expect that to happen. No, it is most likely going to happen after I'm dead and gone. That one day in the future, human beings are finally able to come around to the amazing understanding, because it is, you experience it, but then you understand it, right? So you first experience it, and then you begin to understand it. And this understanding is so amazing, yeah? That understanding is just something so fantastic. I'm talking with you about that. Yeah. That understanding is what I'm talking about right now. Yeah. It's in the early morning and the sun hasn't risen over the hills yet, but now I have also come with my bicycle in what is called Upper Bidwell area. So I'm riding my bicycle closer to the hills. So the sun is trying to come over the hills while I'm going closer to the hills. And yeah, it will take longer for the sun to come over the hills. If I would just stay put, the sun would rise over the hill faster than when I keep riding towards the sun. Isn't that funny? But it doesn't matter. Either way, the sun is going to come over the hills, no matter what. Yeah, understanding your embodied language and how important it is that we do not have a mind, that we do not think, and that everything is determined by overt verbal behavior. That is such a major revolution. Yeah. A revolution, I don't like that word. I would rather say a revelation. Let's put it that way. Because it will relieve us from all our previous beliefs which weren't true. And this revelation, it doesn't make us feel bad about that we were believing in something which was false, it makes us feel good that we no longer believe in what was false. Yeah? We're not ashamed to admit that what we were believing is false. No, we are overjoyed. We are proud. We are relieved that what we believed, it wasn't true. Here, look, the sun is almost coming over the hills. Yes, I couldn't prevent it from climbing over the hills. Yeah. So this should also teach us a lesson. Yeah, no matter what we do, it is going to happen. Yeah, it cannot be prevented. Yeah, I have full faith in that.